I remember a time in the not-so-distant past that you go to an IGN review expecting a valid opinion. Now, it's more or less to see how much bullshit they can spew out. Rather it be saying Rehydrated is mediocre because it did nothing new, giving an Uncharted game a 7 for reasons that are simply not true, and most notably sucking off any high-profile franchise that even attempts to tell an engaging story. So it's no surprise that Evil West suffered the same unfair rating system, even though there's very little wrong with it. How does IGN get off doing this? What's their motivation? How does this game get a 7 while Ragnarok gets a 10? I wonder what the key difference can be. Well, the main thing is that they think the game's repetitive.
The formula for Evil West levels is rarely mixed up save for a few unique situations, such as a wacky minecart segment or the handful of times you walk around the base camp while being spoon-fed exposition.
That's interesting, isn't it? Especially because the game has a huge amount of weapons and abilities to get as the game goes on, something they do mention, a decent amount of enemies that all play differently and seem sufficient for the game's length, a set of skills and upgrades to buy that drastically change the gameplay, and a visually impressive set of areas to explore that all have a unique look. But I guess that wasn't enough. It's funny because God of War Ragnarok, that easily secured a 10 rating, wasn't all that versatile with its gameplay either. You'd have your basic weapons, magic, a set of skills to buy, and a companion to help you when you press a button. The key difference is that because of Ragnarok's length, this gets repetitive a lot faster, and somehow has less variety. With Evil West, you're given more motivation to use your arsenal due to how many different enemies attack you at once, and because of how hectic things can get. Luckily, these mechanics are implemented in a way that's easy to remember, so it's easy to switch between them with ease. Ragnarok had different abilities too, but you don't really need them as much as with Evil West. You try playing this game with the base gear, you're probably gonna have a bad time. The way the game makes you think they've given you an overpowered move only to move into a section that makes it feel completely necessary is a sign that they've done stuff right. But IGN seems to notice none of this. Instead, they complain about big enemies being recycled. It's a flaw, yeah, but it's a flaw Ragnarok had too. What did they say about that?
And is quite simply the best combat I can remember playing in a game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Something I tend to notice is that IGN seems to pander towards certain demographics, primarily those who will sit and drool over a supposedly deep narrative even if it's not that good. I'm not saying Ragnarok's story is bad, it's quite good, but it's not good enough to justify overlooking the shortcomings that they've accused Evil West of having. The thing is, they don't seem to judge narratives based on quality. Instead, they judge them on how long the opening cutscene is and the bravery of taking things slow. Evil West is just not sophisticated enough for their standards.
I just wish the story as a whole was more sophisticated than Jesse simply chasing down some bad people for revenge.
There you go. Could you imagine praising a game with a mere revenge plot? Giving something like that a high score? Ridiculous. Unless you get to kill a pregnant woman, look depressed about it, and act like nothing happened a minute later. Then I could see it. You see, to really get the attention of this despicable site, you need to do something that comes across as different, like having a plot that's dark and depressing. Or something that's, well, the exact opposite, like the first new God of War game. Not only was that game about parenthood, but it came off of a franchise that was, well, you know. And that's how you earn extra points with IGN, by doing something that makes absolutely no sense, but is definitely brave. That's why this game got a 10, that's why Last of Us Part 2 got a 10, and it's why you don't even have to watch the review to know that Ragnarok easily secured a perfect rating. It's to be expected. If I was gonna rant on IGN's fuck-ups every time, well, there wouldn't be the time. This isn't about Ragnarok being overrated, it's still a great game. This is about an amazing game receiving a score that might convince some people to not buy it from a site that some people don't know enough not to trust. It's the fact that these two games could come out at around the same time, have relatively similar gameplay, and get completely different treatment for reasons that are complete bullshit.
This is fucking sick.
IGN is a disgusting site that should not be trusted or taken seriously in any way. And I encourage anybody watching that unless you really only care about storylines, buy Evil West. It's an undeniably fun game that I can already consider to be underrated due to a hack site that really should be ignored. I'm the Game Analyst, and don't forget, storylines in video games are great, but movies, they have those too. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta get back to making the things I like about Ragnarok video, which will surely please a lot of people. What? You're actually here? That's fucking amazing. I guess you may as well check out the main channel, in which I discuss movies, TV series, and the offensive topics that lie within. If that interests you, then press the link in the description. It's right there.